Today we are going to talk about class creation in the Quartic platform, which is the first step to contextualizing your data within Quartic. We want to link your raw tags to a physical asset structure to make the data easier to understand, find, and use. For each asset type you have, you will create an asset class, which essentially serves as a template for all assets of that type. Then you can organize your assets in a hierarchy under either process units or work cells, which are also created from a class definition. So let's take a look at how these class definitions work within the Quartic platform. So I'm going to go into this meta definitions module. And in here, I'll see those three different components I was talking about: the asset classes, work cell classes, and process unit classes. Now, process unit and work cells, these are the higher level parts of the hierarchy, and they're really the same construct within Quartic. There's just a slight difference where work cells are typically more task-based and come from lean implementation, whereas process units are typically more product-based. But either way, they can be interchanged within the platform, and it's really just a logical construct to organize your assets in a way that makes sense to you. So maybe you want to organize them by process area or manufacturing line or even a building. So for me, I'll create a process unit. In this case, we're going to be looking at a chemical process. So I'm going to add a polymerization unit. And then I can add in different attributes for input streams, capacity, things like this. So I'll get rid of most of these. I just want to be able to identify what my capacity is, and this is going to be in kilograms per hour coming out of this polymerization unit. I could also add in some custom attributes, such as maybe my location. This will be a string. So this, you can just add other attributes. So and these will be required to define when someone instantiates this process unit classes. So it's just ensuring that there's consistency and enough information about this process unit where if someone maybe unfamiliar with that site or unfamiliar with that unit comes in and knows what's going on. So we'll save this off. And then within my process unit, one of the types of equipment I want to be able to create is a heat exchanger. So I will create an asset class for that. So I'll add an asset class here. My class name is just going to be HEX for heat exchanger, and this is going to be placed under my process unit I just created. Some of the attributes, we can define upstream assets, downstream assets if it's a part of a particular system. I also want to be able to identify who my manufacturer is. And this is also going to be a string. And maybe I also want to add in my installation date so that I know when this asset was first installed. And this will be a date. Then I can also add in alias tags. So oftentimes when you have pieces of equipment, maybe from different manufacturers, or the data is coming from different PLCs or different data servers, they might have different names. This is a place where we can standardize that naming convention. So for any heat exchanger that I have, I'm going to have maybe a cold side inlet temp. I'll just copy and paste this because it's fairly self-explanatory. And I'm also going to have cold side outlet temp. You get the idea here. So we can then go in and add ones for the hot side inlet and outlet pressures. But this is going to make it so that any heat exchanger I define, these will be the aliases that then when I have tags live streaming in from my data sources, I can then map those tags to these alias names that are more human readable and easier to use within the rest of the Quartic platform. So I'll go through and continue building these out, but you don't have to watch me type all this. For now, I can save this. And now I have my defined asset class. So the next step is then to go and instantiate this process unit class as well as the asset class that I've created here. Just to show you, I can also go in and add in a work class. You'll see the configuration is exactly the same as the process unit. So I'm actually not going to walk through these steps, but you should get the idea. So that really covers how to create classes in the Quartic platform. It's pretty straightforward. This is, again, the first step to building asset context for your data. Join me in the next video to see how to instantiate these classes to finalize your asset context layer. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us here at Quartic.